What is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. It is Monday night, April the 9th, 2018, and we have just witnessed the Raw After WrestleMania, the time-honored tradition that the WWE now has seemingly ruined. At least in my eyes, and I am here to bring the hammer down on tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw and explain to you why you should not be fooled by what you saw tonight and don't get your hopes up for a bright and cheery future, because this is the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show right here on Sledgehammer TV, and the hammer is about to fall. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me, as always, is the world's greatest tag team, Thor, the Wrestling God of Thunder, and the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball. Let's talk about this Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania for 2018. And was it fun? It was kind of a fun show, right? We had some NXT Call Ups, one of which I'm a little bit questioning, but we'll get to that. We had, excuse me, a couple of great returns tonight. We saw the return of Samoa Joe, the Destroyer, one of my favorite guys of all time. We had the return of Jeff Hardy, and we had the return of Captain Boring, Bobby Lashley. But it was still... right, those are fun moments. That's what makes a Raw After WrestleMania special, having a bunch of people and a bunch of new faces show up that you didn't expect. That's what it's supposed to be all about, is it not? No, it is not just supposed to be about that. Do not be fooled, you guys. This show was just a Monday Night Raw with a few little extra added decorations that they have yet to ruin. But I guarantee you, they definitely will. Let's talk about something first. Like I said, this used to be a special night for us, right? The Raw After WrestleMania used to be like this unspoken secret between the WWE and the universe, right? We never, ever acknowledged it for really being what it was over the last maybe 10 years. It was just this really fun night because we knew as fans that the night after WrestleMania is essentially the new year for professional wrestling as it pertains to the WWE. It's the reset button time. So if you weren't happy with last year, this is the night where things are supposed to start to turn and head in a different direction. But about 4 years ago, coincidentally, I think not. It coincides directly with the Roman Reigns initiative. Jerry the King Lawler once dubbed a psychotic crowd in Toronto, Canada to be Bizarro World. And the WWE decided to take that phrase and use it for themselves to try to take the power away from us in the crowd for that Raw After WrestleMania. That real special feeling, because now that's their way of telling new viewers or telling us ourselves, hey, don't take anything you see tonight too seriously. This is Bizarro World. It don't count. Tonight doesn't count to the WWE anymore. What happens tonight is inconsequential. It's because we are in Bizarro World. The Raw crowd after a WrestleMania is not your average crowd. Why not? That's the problem. That's the problem. Every single crowd, every single time you would go to a WWE event in its heyday, whether it was the golden age in the 80s when Hogan was tearing his shirt off and ripping around with his pythons, or when it was Stone Cold Steve Austin bashing beers against his friggin' head and chugging down his throat. Every single week on Monday Night Raw was the Raw After WrestleMania. Why can't it be like that again? What is wrong with these crowds? They used to run the same towns in the same cities that they run now, and the crowds then make these crowds look like they're asleep. I don't understand why we have to wait all year to be a raucous crowd and to voice our opinions. Why can't every crowd, every Monday, be as intense as the crowd the Raw after WrestleMania? Why? Because the WWE says so? As a fan, if you're watching this and you're going to a show, take that mentality with you. Take it to the show. That is what being a fan is all about. The way those fans were tonight in New Orleans, they were on fire from the minute this show started all the way to the end. The 3 hours didn't exhaust them. There wasn't beach ball craziness going on. They were invested in the show because it was a fun show. You got all caught up in the Ember Moon coming up, right? You got all caught up seeing the Authors of Pain. You got all caught up with Jeff Hardy coming back. And you seen Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt form a tag team tonight. You got all caught up in all of that. But the WWEs are masters of disguise. They disguised this Raw after WrestleMania because it was only a regular show. It was a regular Raw. It was a regular Raw with some new added decorations. This Raw after WrestleMania was also nothing more than a 3-hour commercial for the greatest Royal Rumble in disguise. Masters of disguise, you guys. And what is the greatest Royal Rumble? First of all, it's the most ridiculous fucking name for a show that they've ever come up with. But I've already decoded why. You want to know why it's the greatest Royal Rumble? Because this event that's happening in Saudi Arabia in a few weeks, or whenever the hell it is, with this 50-man Royal Rumble event, did you see the card? Some of the matches on this card, you got a rematch from WrestleMania. You got Roman and Brock in the cage. You got an Intercontinental Fatal 4-Way. It's a big stacked card. You know why? Because the greatest Royal Rumble is Vince McMahon's WrestleMania. WrestleMania this year did not count. Vince McMahon is a fucking evil genius. He knew. He knew going into New Orleans he was dead in the water with Roman Reigns beating Brock Lesnar. So what did they do? They held all this information about their negotiations with Brock and they kept everything a secret. They didn't want to tell anybody Brock re-signed with the WWE until tonight so that they could make everybody start to hate Brock Lesnar. That backfired in his face. The crowds didn't give a shit about that overly dramatic and way overbooked ending to WrestleMania that got nothing but "this is awful" chants. And this whole greatest Royal Rumble, this whole everything, this is awful as well. This is Vince's WrestleMania because this is where Roman Reigns is going to beat Brock Lesnar. It's going to be live on the network so the whole world can see it. And Roman Reigns is going to get the reaction that Vince wants you guys to give him right here in the States and everywhere around the world. Saudi Arabia, in this area where they are having this event, is the heaviest Roman Reigns fan base in the world. Everybody there looks at him like a god. When he defeats Brock Lesnar in this hallowed ground where millions of little Saudi Arabian kids look up to and want to be Roman Reigns one day, and that crowd is going to explode with a fury that you're not even going to believe, because when we see Roman Reigns, we see it for what it is. WrestleMania didn't count, you guys. Not to Vince McMahon, because this is the greatest Royal Rumble where we are going to see his vision finally come to fruition, and it's still going to be nothing but a gigantic flop. A gigantic flop. An absolute disgrace. How the WWE, ever since they've claimed ownership of the Raw after WrestleMania, they never really called it that before. This is when they started to dub it as Bizarro World, and you want to have the commentators say, "Oh, we cheer people we normally boo and boo people we normally cheer." Bullshit! Raw after WrestleMania is when we give you guys the most honest reaction as a fan that we ever give you. You take this opportunity to twist that to make sure that the average viewer or the dumbass that's watching or the kids or the young guys that might be watching for the first time think, "Oh, well, if they're booing this Roman Reigns guy, I guess that means he's really well liked because they really cheer him." How stupid do you think people are? They're going to catch on, and when week 1, they hear the same thing they heard, and then week 2 and week 3 following the Raw after WrestleMania, the reaction doesn't change, and then they're going to be like, I thought they said they normally cheer this guy. What's going on? It's bullshit. They're trying to take it away from us, and tonight they definitely did. They're having the Superstar Shakeup next week, so what could they possibly have done tonight? All in all, the call-ups that we saw happen tonight could already be in jeopardy. And tonight could be, and tomorrow night as well, could be completely inconsequential. Ember Moon could have been called up on Raw just to have that moment and then end up on SmackDown Live next week. So what was the point of the big pop moment on Monday Night Raw? She's not officially a member of the Monday Night Raw for more than a week. Why have it so soon? Why not have the Raw after WrestleMania be the night of the shakeup then, if you want to do it so soon? That would have been great. Would have definitely caused a ruckus in the New Orleans Smoothie King Center where things were not so smooth, if you ask me. What are some of the other things I wanted to talk about tonight? I have a few things written down here. Some of the things that were missing on this night. You want to call this Raw after WrestleMania, the biggest Raw of the year, hitting the reset button, relaunching everything, and we don't have a Universal Champion in the house. Why is that? Why is that? The biggest and most important Raw, maybe of the entire calendar year, and the champion is absent? Is that a strategic move to try to gain more sympathy for the challenger at the greatest Royal Rumble? Because it's not going to work. Nothing has worked all this time. What makes you think this storyline with him still trying, Roman Reigns that is, still trying to push this be against Brock because he's not around thing, hasn't been working over the last month. You've been pushing it so hard, it's not going to work anymore within the next couple of weeks leading up to his eventual coronation. We're still going to get that moment that we all didn't want at WrestleMania. It's just not going to happen there. And Vince knew it wasn't going to happen there. And because he wasn't going to get his way, like a spoiled little baby child, he creates his own event where he can have everything his way. He can have it in a place where the crowd will react exactly the way he wants it to be, and screw the rest of this whole company. That's why WrestleMania went off the rails as quickly as it did. Shinsuke Nakamura in a barely 15-minute match. Supposed to be a dream match. What kind of a dream match doesn't go at least 25 minutes? Epic encounter. No, these guys barely got started last night. And then you end it with a heel turn. Vince McMahon is an evil genius. And perhaps it is time for him to go focus somewhere else, but he's not going to. Because this is his toy. And until the day that man's heart stops beating, he's going to be doing this to us. And he's going to have his agenda, and he's going to make it happen, even if he has to create a nonsensical, ridiculous, meaningless pay-per-view in the middle of fucking nowhere. No disrespect to Saudi Arabia as a nation. It's just really, it's like a desert country to us here in the West. It's in the middle of nowhere. We can't go. We can't see it. We ain't gonna fly all the way over there to voice our displeasure and be against all these Roman Reigns loving people that are over there. That's not going to happen. You know, this same kind of thing happened back in the day with Bret the Hitman Hart, where Bret was starting to not be felt by the United States fans. But every time they went overseas or they went into Canada, Bret was loved. But for some reason it worked there. Maybe because Bret was talented. Maybe because Bret Hart was genuine and was an actual wrestler. Was a legit champion, and was really loved worldwide before that weird 90s thing happened and Stone Cold just kind of got under his skin. But we got some of the best stuff from Bret Hart and the New Hart Foundation that we got out of all that. What are we getting out of this? What are we getting out of this? More heartache, more sorrow. We're going to get Roman with the Universal Championship, and then he's going to come back, and his first challenger is going to be Samoa Joe. You think they're going to allow Samoa Joe to destroy Roman Reigns after everything he has endured and the mountain he's had to climb to best the beast? No, absolutely not. No John Cena. No Undertaker. I didn't expect to see The Undertaker, but with the way things went last night, I would have liked a little bit of something. Do something, right? Cena said it. I'm saying it now. Why didn't they do something? Have Cena come out and say something? He was on this whole big trek to do this in the first place. Now he can't come out with his head held high and be like, hey, listen, I screwed up. I lost to The Undertaker. Or have The Undertaker say something. Show us what happened after WrestleMania. An interview or something. I could see him hanging out with Jarius on Twitter. Little Jarius Robertson from the Hall of Fame. There's pictures of The Undertaker hanging out with him backstage. We can't get 2 words from The Undertaker to tell us what the fuck is going on? Ridiculous. No Asuka. No Asuka all night long. You want to put Asuka on Raw on the whole lead up into her SmackDown Live championship match, not featuring her on SmackDown Live with the exception of one moment on the Go Home show. And now she's not even on Raw? Where is she? Is she crying in her milk? Is she going to, back to Japan to go console herself with some cats or whatever she owns? Maybe she's got a puppy, I don't know. What is she doing? Reading fortune cookies in the back? Trying to figure out what's next for Asuka? I'm still trying to figure out what's next for Asuka now that they destroyed everything that was special about her at WrestleMania. Braun Strowman's only segment tonight. This is the Raw after WrestleMania, the most over guy on the Raw roster. The biggest star you have. He's on the ascension. He's risen to heights that nobody could have predicted when you first seen Braun Strowman enter on the scene. Just like Rusev Day on SmackDown Live, you got Braun Strowman and Elias, 2 of the hottest prospects on Monday Night Raw, and they both got nothing on the Raw after WrestleMania. What did you see? What did you see? I saw Braun Strowman come out with little Nicholas and relinquish the titles. And now we have no tag team champions. And this tag team championship will be decided, the new winners will be crowned at the greatest Royal Rumble. WrestleMania 2.0. Or WrestleMania A, if you ask Vince McMahon. This is my WrestleMania. Vince, we can't call it WrestleMania. No, but this is my WrestleMania. Vince, we can't. Well, but it's the greatest show we're ever going to have. Roman's going to win, and we're going to have this thing. Vince, but we can't call it WrestleMania. WrestleMania, we're having it. No, well, then call it the greatest Royal Rumble. Braun Strowman had no match tonight. He didn't destroy a set piece. He didn't flip a garbage truck. He didn't even take out the trash. He did nothing. He came to Kurt Angle. He said, listen, I chose this little kid. He's in the 4th grade. We can't be tag team champions. His schedule's all full. He's got to go to school. Here's my belts. And then he walks away. What was that? What does Braun Strowman get? Braun Strowman walks away with little Nikki. I'm Nikki. What do I get? Nothing. Walks away with little Nikki to the back, and then we get the bar coming in and be like, hey, how about we get our tag team titles back? What the hell was happening on this show? This was nonsense. Nothing felt special. Nothing felt special. Ember Moon's debut. Think about it, you guys. Ember Moon debuted and overshadowed the new Raw Women's Champion. This whole thing with Alexa Bliss was all supposed to come to a head, and now WrestleMania we have a new Women's Champion, and then the only thing they can do is have Alexa come out, and even though she got her ass whooped last night and squashed like a bug, right? She definitely did get squashed. What do we get tonight? Alexa's just coming out and running her mouth again. Telling fat jokes again. The same exact show we had last week, you guys. The same show we've been getting. They couldn't think of anywhere new to go. There is no creative left in the creative juices of the WWE company. Nowhere. Nowhere. It's all being sucked up by NXT, apparently. And they're not sharing. And I don't blame them. Speaking of NXT, my God. I fear for the authors of pain. I fear for No Way Jose. No Way Jose. I say no way to him altogether. There's no way he's going to get over on Monday Night Raw. There's no way Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn are not going to ruin the character of No Way Jose. Look what they did to Fandango. Look what they did to Tyler Breeze. Look what they did to Ty Dillinger. Look what they continue to do to all of these guys. And then you could add other NXT alum to the list. Look what they're doing currently to Rusev. Look what they're doing to Baron Corbin. List anybody that you know from NXT. You could even include Finn Balor in there. Look at where Finn Balor has become. A guy walking around smiling, can't even pull his demon out for WrestleMania. Ridiculous. They take everything special away from these guys. Essentially, No Way Jose, when I seen him tonight, I thought automatically, here's our next Adam Rose. Here's a guy who's going to come out, the crowd's going to eventually start to get behind him, and then Vince is going to get bored with him and say, nah, this ain't working, see you next week. We'll think of something else. We'll call you Yes Way Jose. You can't do that, Vince, because Daniel Bryan's got the whole yes mover. Well, we'll call you Maybe Jose. How about that? This is the way I see things going over there. Actually, the garbage that I'm spewing out and that I'm coming up with is better than the shit that they're giving us. Why did he have to come out with a whole fucking crew of rejects? Why couldn't he just come out like he did on NXT initially? Just come out as you. You know, come out, be yourself, and get your groove on. Get your jiggy with it. Do whatever you want to phrase it. Do your thing, man. Get your shoulders pumping. Do your thing. No way, Jose. Why couldn't you just be yourself? What was with the crowd? You made me think of Adam Rose. Were those the Rosebuds? Are they going to be given a group name? Are they going to be the No Ways? Ridiculous. The Authors of Pain. The Authors of Pain come up and immediately take care of the resident tag team to squash Heath Slater and Rhino. I actually thought this was going to turn out to be something decent. I thought maybe we were going to get a little bit of a gem here because we do have Rhino, a former ECW champion, in there with these two behemoths, Akam and Razor. But this match was very underwhelming for a debut. They came out, they just busted him up a little bit. They didn't do anything that dramatic, anything to really sell themselves as a really scary tandem force in the World Wrestling Entertainment. And then they want to get rid of Paul Ellering. Now, essentially, I'm okay with that. I don't really mind them distancing themselves with Ellering. To me, I know Paul Ellering's history. I'm 40 years old. To 90% of the crowd that's probably watching right now, they have no idea who this psycho-looking little bald man is and don't want to know about Rocco and the motorcycle and the Legion of Doom. They don't give a shit. But I do. I wouldn't mind seeing Ellering on TV again. I love managers. I think they really, really are a much-needed asset in the world of sports entertainment, especially in the WWE, but they've pretty much done away with the manager. There's an odd manager here and there. Paul Heyman is very specific to call himself an advocate. He's not a manager per se anymore, but it is a much needed aspect of the business, and I would be very welcoming of it, no matter who it may be. But nonetheless, this Raw after WrestleMania had absolutely nothing big going on for it. Nothing. Nothing big going on for it. Few new faces, a few fresh faces. That's about it. Started off with a repeat segment from what we saw last night at WrestleMania. I've been jibber-jabbering on about my feelings about it for long enough. Let's get to the official card. I got it right up here for you guys. Started off, we're going to shoot right through these, because to be honest, I'm still fucking exhausted from last night. Recording the show for you guys, the WrestleMania review, you know, full disclosure, because I tell you guys the truth, I'll bring the hammer right fucking down on myself, because last night was a debacle. Last night was not me. If you watched the show last night, you know that was not your normal Sledgehammer wrestling show. That was not your average Nick Nightmare. That was Nick Nightmare at 2 in the morning after his computer crashed 3 times mid-recording session, saving no files so that I can go back and edit it later, and driving myself absolutely nuts because I had to get that show up for you guys. So it was a little bit underwhelming in my own right. I performed my WrestleMania review the way Raw performed tonight's Raw after WrestleMania. It was fun, of course, as it always was. It was a fun show. There was a couple of cool moments on the night, but initially underwhelming and not what we expect for a Raw after WrestleMania. Just like last night was not what you expect when you come here. And I apologize for that. But you try to do a show at 2 in the morning and see how hot you feel. I'm still feeling the effects. So we're going to barrel through this card we've already been spewing on for long enough. Ronda Rousey attacks Stephanie McMahon at the top of this thing. Stephanie McMahon wants to come out and play nice now that she got her little arm twisted. And all she got for that is her arm twisted once again, as Ronda Rousey went in for the hug, doing her best Bayley impersonation, hugging it out with Stephanie McMahon, and then her face went from, happy hug it out to, hey bitch, let's throw down. And it was entertaining. I didn't mind seeing Stephanie McMahon squealing in pain, and it was very, very funny to me. Like I said, the crowd was on fire from the get-go. They were telling Stephanie McMahon right from the bat to shut the fuck up, and when she got her arm broken for a second time, the chants of "you deserve it" rained down, and of course the na 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 na, that whole bit that the WWE Universe loves to do when somebody's going away. I can only hope that she's going away for an extended amount of time, because I don't want Ronda Rousey's existence on the Raw roster to revolve around Stephanie McMahon. It's time to break her away from this. Literally, she broke her arm twice, or tore ligaments, or whatever they want to say she did. It's over. Ronda Rousey is the dominant female on Monday Night Raw right now. Let's start doing something with her, and let's not let Stephanie cloud the spotlight anymore. Hopefully this was the beginning or the end of the beginning of that, because I don't want to see it start up anymore. Then we had our women's tag team matchup, which we touched on a little bit before. Nia Jax coming out, getting shit on again by Alexa Bliss, only to have the debut of Ember Moon, which was fantastic. This girl is a superstar in the making on the main roster. I'm a little surprised at the acceleration of her call-up, but the WWE's main roster needs as many talented females as possible, because it is one of the thinnest rosters in the history of rosters. Just like the tag team roster. Kurt Angle wants to tell Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, oh, I can't hire you guys now because my tag team division is full. Full of what? The only thing the tag team division is full of shit. Well, you can't make room besides the 3 tag teams that you got on there that you've been doing the round robin with? You got Heath Slater and Rhino, you got Gallows and Anderson, and the Revival. How is that a full division? You would have been smart to sign Kevin and Sami and make them a tag team and let that fill out the division. Especially now that you got Bray and Matt Hardy. You got the Authors of Pain. Now maybe your division will be a little full. That's including Owens and Zayn. But come on, let's get real. The women's division, same thing. You need as many bodies, as many faces as you can to try to stuff that thing up, because it's just so tiring and exhausting as a fan, seeing the same 4 women in the same 2 or 3 segments over and over and over and over again all year long. I fully welcome and endorse the arrival of Ember Moon. The eclipse that she delivered on Alexa Bliss at the end of this tag team match to secure the win for her and the champion was fantastic, but therein lies the problem with Nia Jax being the champion. This is why that championship title belt should not be around her waist right now, and it should be on either Sasha or Bayley. And being part of that feud, the championship belt. Right now, Nia Jax didn't even get the pin tonight. The pin went to the new debuting superstar. So why not feature the champ in her own segment? Why have the champ in this tag team segment? Why go immediately back to a storyline that's supposed to have concluded last night at WrestleMania? How much vengeance did Nia Jax get if Alexa doesn't give a shit and she's coming out with Mickie James doing the fat jokes again? Come on, ridiculous. But Ember Moon's debut and her performance was great. Immediately following that, we had the debut of No Way Jose on the Monday Night Raw roster. Like I said, flocked by a bunch of fucking mooks, and it was ridiculous. He fought against a nobody, he got the win, and nobody in New Orleans really gave too much of a shit. Everybody kind of got into the dancing, but it was not as loud or as ruckus as an NXT Full Sail audience would be. Now I don't think was the time for No Way Jose. He never really made that big of an impact down in NXT. He had a couple of great matches with Cien Almas, and then he kind of just went away. He hasn't really been on anything in NXT over the last few months, and this is a very questionable call-up to me. And I see him, like I said, only going the way of the toilet. He's going to be flushed right down when Vince McMahon decides he's a big, fat, shiny turd. And he's not. He's an absolutely talented individual. His gimmick, his character is fun, and it can bring a lot of life to the show if you want to feature him the right way, but I have no faith in them to get this guy over. Not in the way he needs to be. Unless Triple H starts to take control of Monday Night Raw. No way, Jose. Does he have a chance? No way, Jose. Sorry, bro. Braun Strowman relinquishes his titles with Little Nicholas and goes away. And then we got the start of Kurt Angle's Tag Team Eliminator. It's just a miniature tournament, but he's going to name it the Tag Team Eliminator. I wish I had a Tag Team Eliminator that I could shoot at the tag teams that I don't want to see around. I would shoot them immediately at Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Boom, you're not a tag team anymore. You got hit with the Tag Team Eliminator, bitch. You guys get to go be on singles competition where you belong because this tag team is garbage. Oh, boom, Titus Worldwide. Eliminated. I can go on and on and on. Tag Team Eliminator. Sounds like a friggin' gun you would get in Fortnite. The Revival, in a ridiculous, useless match that could essentially be called a glorified squash match, get the win with the Shatter Machine, a very sloppily done Shatter Machine. We told you, we bring the hammer down. I love the Revival. I think they're great, but that was a terrible match. It was slow, it was boring, they seemed to be nervous or sloppy, it just didn't come off that well. Shatter Machine almost shattered his own knees, is what I seen. They pull that move off beautifully, countless times. Tonight was not one of those times, and tonight was one of those times where you want to hit everything to its absolute utmost perfection. But the Revival get the win here and move on in the Tag Team Eliminator. Stupid fucking name. We got Seth Rollins and Finn Balor in the ring. Seth Rollins kicked this whole thing off. He came out to celebrate. This was a lot of fun. The crowd here started a burn it down chant. I think, and I hope that sticks. I hope the crowds everywhere else heard that tonight and keep that with them. Why aren't, they don't want to call his finishing move the curb stomp. Why aren't they calling it the burn it down? He's driving the man's head right down into the mat. And you don't even have to... Seth Rollins, burn it down! Boom! As he's hitting it. Come on! Use your fucking brains over there. No, we're just going to call it the stomp. You don't want to call it the curb stomp. Take it away completely. Get the word stomp out of there. And just make it his tagline. Seth Rollins, burn it down to Finn Balor. Boom! Match over. Why am I so good at this? Anyway, they have this whole thing where Seth is having a lot of fun with the crowd, and then Finn Balor comes out. He wants to be the first guy to contend for the newly won Intercontinental Championship, blah, blah, blah. Then you got The Miz and the Miztourage coming out, doing their whole thing. I thought we weren't going to see The Miz for a while. And then you have Jeff Hardy's return to a pop that's absolutely unbelievable. This guy is over like gangbusters, baby. There's no bigger star that's transcended all these generations than Jeff Hardy. Your grandma probably likes Jeff Hardy, bro. Your mom definitely does. All of us in my generation, we're all parents. We all love the Hardys and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian. We have a special love for them. You guys have only gotten to love them in the last few years, you young bucks out there. And let me tell you something. This guy is freaking fantastic. Just like Matt is fantastic. And I love the fact that they put him in the Intercontinental Championship mix and not immediately back with Matt Hardy doing the Hardy Boys in the broken thing. I much prefer the way they decided to go with it here. This is one decision that I could fully get behind. Can you imagine Finn Balor versus Jeff Hardy. Can you please bring the demon out for that match, please? Jeff Hardy's probably going to paint himself up like a psychopath now that he's back on his singles run. That would be so great to see them go at it that way. And then, obviously, Seth Rollins versus Jeff Hardy. That is a 5-star main event match no matter what. For a belt, for no belt, ladders, nothing to it. It could just be them one-on-one. They're probably going to blow it and just give us that match on a Monday Night Raw for free. But that is... Actually, that could be a fantastic SummerSlam match. Either one of them. Single. I don't want to see the three of them. I'm done with the multi-man matches right now. I just don't want to see any more. We're going to get them throughout the rest of the year, so I know I got to get used to it. But Jeff Hardy versus any one of them, I was very happy with this segment, only because they put him in it, and I think it makes for a much more interesting Intercontinental Championship future, which I hope The Miz is soon to be removed from thanks to the shakeup. But that's why I don't understand anything really they did tonight, because come next week, none of it could matter. What if The Miz and The Miz Taraj break up? Oh! Get that eliminator! Bang bang! Tag team eliminator! Miz Taraj, you're out of here! The fuck out of here. After this, we had a one-on-one matchup. Sasha Banks, Mandy Rose. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I told you how hard my night was last night. I fell asleep. During this match. I had no idea it took place. I have no idea what happened. I apologize. Sasha Banks is one of my favorites, but I fell asleep before she even came out. I didn't know anything that happened. I was awoken by the sounds of Paige giving her retirement speech. Now, I am among the thousands of people that would love to give their support and love and thanks to Paige for a spectacular run, a real fun ride. She really was the second anti-diva, but the first one to really take the ball and run with it and to really get over. AJ was kind of the first one. Paige really stepped it up. She won her championship in her first matchup, and it was a fantastic career, and I hope that her future is bright. And the one shining moment I will take out of this as a fan is if this is legit and she is truly retiring and walking away from the WWE to pursue other endeavors, it is that crap solution is no more, and I will take that. And I hope that Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville don't stay together as Crap Solution. Let's try some new things and branch them off and do some different things. I hear Goldust is looking for something to do. Let's have that Rose Gold team get going, and then let Sonya Deville go and get her ass beat by a real MMA fighter like Ronda Rousey. I'd be much more interested in seeing something like that. But that being said, and please don't at me and don't give me any shit about what I'm about to say, but this, I don't care about the logistics and that she made her debut in New Orleans and all that other stuff. Tonight was not the night for a downer like a retirement speech. The Raw after WrestleMania is supposed to be a non-stop night of fun and excitement, and you want it to come out and bring everybody down. I would have much rather you guys do this next week during the shakeup. Have Paige come out and be like, listen, I'm not going to be part of the shakeup because unfortunately I have to retire. Let her do the whole thing. Tonight, you sucked everybody's fun right out. You had people in the crowd crying. Put one more week. It would have made more sense. Where's Paige going to go? Everybody, oh, where's Paige going to go? Where's Paige going to go in the shakeup? Is Paige going to be... And Paige can be like, listen, I ain't going anywhere. I'm going home. I can't do this no more, and it's time for me to go. I think that would have been a much better way to wrap it up. But, of course, they did it tonight. They wanted to give us a downer somewhere and make us feel bad, and they did. Then it was time to walk with Elias. This guy is absolutely nuclear hot. I love Elias. We know this, man. I champion his cause every single week. One of the hottest heels in the business. He was getting such a reaction from the crowd that he turned around on the drop of a dime. He was enjoying it. He was feeding into the crowd, getting everybody into it. Yeah! I said, who wants to walk with Elias? And the crowd was like, woo! And he was like, yeah! And he was like, yeah, well, you guys, too bad it's the same bunch of scumbags from last night. And then in true Raw after WrestleMania fashion, the crowd chanting, "We are scumbags," about themselves. Fantastic! Fantastic. This whole moment was great. Elias' song, he changed it up on the fly because the crowd was clapping along, and he don't want the crowd to clap along. He's supposed to be a bad guy, and what a bad guy's supposed to be doing, they're supposed to be getting booed. So he turned it around and tells everybody, "Hey, listen, you guys keep clapping, I'm going to punch you in the face." Right in his song. Fucking beautiful. And this whole thing is ruined by the screeching halt of the arrival of one Bobby Lashley. Captain Blando Calrissian. I hate Bobby Lashley. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because he's got big fish eyes. I don't know if it's because he just walks around with this smug, air of self-confidence that comes from nothing. He's had it since he's debuted in the WWE. He was just a former NCAA champion at the time. He's walking around like a shit don't stink. I don't know if it's the shininess of his milk dud head. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the stupid headband that he's got wrapped around that looks like he's squeezing a turd out of the top of his head. I don't know what it is. But obviously, I don't like Bobby Lashley. I didn't like him in TNA. I hated that he was one of the central points of TNA. It was one of the reasons I stopped watching the show. And now he's on WWE. And to make it even worse, he comes in and embarrasses one of my favorite guys. A guy that has been burning a trail in his path week after week after week, as Elias becomes one of the most beloved superstars, again, much like Rusev, and he's being squashed down. He's being held down, and he's going to be fed to another part-timer, another former WWE guy coming back for one last moment of glory, and in this case, it is not deserved. Bobby Lashley's crowning moment is shaving Vince McMahon's head for the current president of the United States. That in itself is a fucking embarrassment. Not just because he was with Donald Trump or anything like that. Because his WrestleMania moment was shaving Vince McMahon's head after beating Umaga in a battle of the billionaires. A meaningless hype match. Ridiculous. I don't want to see Bobby Lashley back. But unfortunately he is. If he is not set on a WWE path to Brock Lesnar, then I'm not interested. And even at that, I'm barely interested at best. That's the one thing they could do that I would be like, okay, alright, I'll take this. But until that happens, every time I see Bobby Lashley, you could expect a lot of swinging with this hammer because it's nothing more than an epic fail. The tag team eliminated continues. Ba-boom, Slater and Rhino, bang, you're gone, baby. Because the Authors of Pain, like we said to you guys before it came out, made short work of the former first ever SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, leaving them in a heap in the ring, and then leaving Paul Ellering at ringside, the Authors of Pain victorious in their Raw debut. Only a matter of time before they start to feel the pain of Raw, and they will be the Rawthers of Pain. I'm sorry. I just am very scared. I'm a big fan of the Authors of Pain, just like I was of Ty Dillinger and all the people we mentioned before, and it's just going to continue to be something I watch very cautiously in the future. Samoa Joe comes out and calls out Roman Reigns while he's in the middle of his little, oh, Brock Lesnar, and now the company's screwing me. Vince thinks we're going to get behind him because he's going to try to paint some conspiracy theory that Vince is against him, that they booked him in this match without his knowledge for the greatest Royal Rumble. He didn't know it was coming. They've been talking about it for 2 weeks. They don't need to know it's coming. Garbage. But Samoa Joe, the best heel in the business, absolute gold on the mic, tore Roman a new asshole tonight. and then forced him to turn around and stick his head right up it, metaphorically speaking. There was no contact between Joe and Roman tonight. Joe laying down the law, telling him no matter what he does, he fails. Vince is giving him every opportunity to succeed, and he's a failure. He called Roman Reigns a failure live on TV. One of my favorite moments of the night. Prompting the crowd to chant in unison, failure to him. Has to be one of the most embarrassing moments of Vince McMahon's life, and he's standing back there pretending that this is what he wanted all along. Bullshit. Roman Reigns is set on a course to battle Samoa Joe at Backlash after he beats the Beast at the Greatest Roman Party. That's what it should have been called. This is the Roman Party show. The Greatest Royal Rumble. The Tag Team Eliminator continues as Titus Worldwide gets the bang bang gun elimination as Woken, Matt Hardy, and Bray Wyatt form their unit tonight in a great little promo spot leading to this match and their entrance. I can't wait to see what this storyline leads to. I think Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy are going to be a fantastic duo. I love that he came out tonight, and they kind of look like opposites, yet they still look like they belong together in some weird reason. And they have this finishing maneuver that they've worked out where Bray Wyatt sets up for the sister Abigail and then delivers it in a way that launches him into Matt Hardy, who will execute a twist of fate as soon as he hits him. And I say you call it the Twisted Abigail or the Twisted Sister, one or the other. Either way, I mean, Twisted Sister's a band that probably wouldn't be able to use it, copyright reasons. So I say call it the Twisted Abigail. I thought of that when I put it out there on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, please feel free to do so. The tag is right there for you guys to do it. Welcome, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt defeated Titus Worldwide. Thank God. Then we had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn showed up tonight looking for a job on Monday Night Raw. Like we said, we talked a little bit about it earlier. They confronted Kurt Angle wanting a spot. Angle's like, listen, I only got one spot. You guys can fight over it. And the winner stays and the loser, tough shit. And we had a very, very good match with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. But what do you expect? When these two get in there, that's what you get. You always get good matches from these two. But this match would end in a no contest, as they would beat each other so badly. This match meant so much for both of these men to win that they beat each other to the point where neither man can rise to their feet and beat a 10 count. When was the last time you seen a finish like that? Kudos for them on that one. I liked the way this match ended up, and now Zayn and Owens still have no home. With the shakeup next week, let's see how they try to finagle their way back onto SmackDown Live or for another shot at being members of the Raw roster. This was a great match. I definitely enjoyed, probably one of the matches I enjoyed the most on the night. After this, we had a backstage encounter where Matt Hardy would run into his brother again. Jeff Hardy was walking towards the ring with his two tag team partners, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, and he would be flanked by his brother to his right. Matt Hardy would introduce him to the new Woken Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt standing face to face with Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy looking all perplexed about the whole situation. And then Bray Wyatt would say, "Brother Nero," and embrace. And they would hug. And it was wonderful. Yes, it was absolutely wonderful. And then to make it even better, one little moment that made me pop for the night. Jeff Hardy goes back to his tag team partners who are looking in horror at what they just saw, completely befuddled and confused about what has just happened before their eyes. And they questioned Jeff Hardy, they're like, what was that about? And he was just like, I don't know, and walked away. And then we had the meaningless main event, a 6-man tag match, something we've been getting all year long, with The Miztourage. The Miztourage in the main event of the Raw After WrestleMania. Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel in the main event of the Raw After WrestleMania against a proverbial dream team of superstars in Jeff Hardy, Seth Rollins, and Finn Balor. Why? There was nothing at stake. This was just, what, so we can have kind of a WrestleMania rematch, but not really? In the form of a 6-man match so we can get as many people out there as possible? I don't get it. It was a very weird and an extremely underwhelming way to end this show tonight. This show went off the air absolutely ridiculously with them just hyping everything else. Cole and Coachman, who's absolutely terrible. Jonathan Coachman, since he's come back, has been worse than even Booker T, and that's saying something. He derailed the commentary so much tonight, I wanted to smash him in the head with my hammer through the TV. Thankfully, I didn't do that, so I still have a TV, and he still has a cranium. One that he chooses not to use, apparently. You know what, why don't you go back and do a little homework about the time you were away at ESPN so you don't sound like a fucking idiot? Coach. Nice, Coach. Nice one. All night long, I'm sitting there just shaking my head at this fucking guy. But the show goes off the air with the three of them just signing off. Thank you and good night from New Orleans. Where was the big moment, leaving you to wait and watch next week? You know what the big moment was? The commercial for the shake-up. Oh, we're going to shake things up next week. No reason to have a big exciting moment to end the Raw after WrestleMania for the crowd here. Apparently after the show, I saw some stuff on Twitter. You know what the Raw after WrestleMania dark moment was? Seth Rollins playing with a beach ball with the crowd. Beach ball mania coming back again. That was your Monday Night Raw up and down, you guys. Absolutely the most phoned in and the most powerless. That's a good way to put it. This Raw after WrestleMania, it was fun. It was good at moments, but it was powerless. There was no power to this show. Power is what we're looking for. No power. Like running your TV with no plug. Just a big black screen. Same shit we see every week. With a couple of fresh, shiny, new toys to play with. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight for this Raw review. This whole weekend has been absolutely exhausting 100%. I cannot wait to get SmackDown over tomorrow so I can get my brain off a little bit of wrestling. As much as I love it, I just need a little bit of detox. I want to go play a little bit of Breath of the Wild. You know, I got myself a new Switch. I want to go start playing some of that. We got some stuff that I haven't been playing on my PlayStation. We got God of War coming out, you guys. Holy shit. I can't wait. We got a lot of stuff planned for the channel. We got coverage on this greatest oh my god, Vince's WrestleMania, the greatest Royal Rumble. We're going to be covering that, especially since it'll be on the network. You know we're going to be here bringing the hammer down on that show, just like we do on everything else. Don't forget to check out everything we had up all week long. WrestleMania moments in a minute, all your reviews of NXT, everything we had, previews and reviews of WrestleMania, even though it's not my best. Still check it out. Go give it a like. Just for shits and giggles, or just because you're my buds, you're my subscribers, and you love me that much that you'll go and do that just because I ask you to. Also, don't forget, you guys, you got 2 nights left to get your hands on these shirts. You can get them at teespring.com. The information will be up for your eyes to see at the end of this show. Once again, if you missed it at the beginning, don't forget to get them before they're gone after Tuesday night. You will not be able to get them again this year, and next year's design will be a little bit different. I can promise you guys that. Thank you so much for all of your continued love and support. WrestleMania is the biggest time of the year for all of us, and all I can ask as a thank you is for you guys to smash that thumbs up. If you enjoyed today's show, share this video with all your wrestling buddies, anybody that you know that watches wrestling and that enjoys some real good, intelligent conversation and wants to be part of a growing community, one of the best communities of wrestling fans on YouTube that there is. Please allow them to view one of these videos and invite them, as I invite you, to hit that subscribe button right fucking now. I wanted to try to get to 1K by WrestleMania Sunday. That didn't happen. So now we're going to have to set a new goal, and I want to get to 1,000 subscribers before the greatest Royal Rumble, because we are going to make this the greatest channel on YouTube, and all I need is for you guys to use your tubes to watch me, and the best way to do that and stay in the know with this channel is to hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at Nick Nightmare. Check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. All one gigantic word, no spaces or fancy nonsense. And then after you do all of that, go and get your shirts today. Thank you guys so much. This weekend is crazy and it's almost over. Thank you for being here. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is my tag team, the world's greatest tag team of Thor, the God of Thunder, and the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball. And this has been the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show right here on Sledgehammer TV, only on YouTube.com. Thank you guys again for the 100th time, and we will see you tomorrow night for SmackDown Live. That is going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, baby! The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Shirts!